iG.Vitality. And this is also going to be one of those games where iG.Vitality back on the Dire side. It seems to be the case this series that you play on Dire, life is fine. Life is good for you.
Yeah. It was definitely a whole lot better playing on the Dire side than the Radiant side this time around, but looks like we are going to have a level 1 clash again.
All right, this time around, the Supernova's ready. Sheep has the avalanche for several heroes. 3 heroes caught inside of this. There's a snowball save potentially. Who's going to end up getting brought down first? These razors. Ukyo doing so much work, but Ukyo might die for this actually. Double kill so far for Winter. He's popping the magic stick. He's still alive. He will end up going down, but the fight is going 3 for 2 so far. Who else is going to end up falling? Totoro, Ash getting a double kill, but this Razor might end up losing his life as well. One more right click. They want to give it to the Invoker so that Han gets himself a double kill. What madness is this, Fluke? 4 and 3. The first blood goes the way of IG, but 7 heroes dead before the horn even sounds. What the hell am I even watching?
Yeah, these guys have been jamming heads for the last 3 games. Every single time they both smoke up, 5-man run into one of the jungles, and this time around, Supernova were more than ready for that, and Han starting out with 2 kills early on. Feels good here for the Invoker. Isn't all too sad about the mana that he used as well, because he got a 5-man EMP, so we got all back. And, you know, the way that this does work out, interested to see what the net worth distribution is going to be. So it's actually Winter and Han that got a lot of the gold out of that. They're sitting at 1,000 and 1,100 respectively. So they're definitely a lot happier than what iG.V was.
Yep, especially Han. Dude, Han has now a full null tally flying out to him on the courier. So Totoro, Ash was expecting to get a lot more out of that fight. Unfortunately, him falling means that the Invoker has a much better start than you would have been allowed to otherwise. It's interesting though, right? Because iG.V are actually super lucky that they got the first blood. If they didn't get first blood, that fight would have been horrendous for them. But the fact that they do, they get something at least.
Yeah, they would have been super far behind when it came to the gold. But as you said, lucky for the first blood. And I like the balls of them to walk up to that high ground, feeling like they're relatively strong. They did a lot of damage with the Silencer Q as well as the triple razors, but it just wasn't enough for them to convert onto all the kills. If they'd come out on top with 4 or 5 kills there, then I think iG.V can kind of just snowball their lane super hard. Like the only lane that's going to be relatively even is going to be this mid lane. Like Ash really can't pressure the Invoker all too much, especially of course Wex Invoker, but we've seen these lanes before and seen how they've panned out. The heroes are slightly different, but the way they play is still relatively the same.
Yep. This bottom lane, I expect that Winter, sitting very far back, should be able to get the farm that he needs. Tax is going to do his utmost to just make sure that he's available for as much magical burst as possible with the Soul Assumption. But provided that you have a Frost Shield, you will be okay. You'll be fine. Shouldn't really die on this bottom side of the map for Winter. On the same flip side, they can't really get any massive kills either. At least not until like Shola gets the Sinister Gaze. But you don't get that until like level 7 nowadays, so it should be okay. Top side of the map, similar situation. Unfortunately here, we've seen that Ukyo, last game they had like a fairly kill lane. Is there any threat that you feel from the Shadow Fiend Silencer together? Or do you just like sit back and farm with these heroes? Down bottom, oh no. Visage, oh what happened? What happened to his HP? Tax, one more right click. Will they be able to find it? They should, and they will get the kill. Although Shola does manage to just have to watch his troll dying because they do lose the Visage afterwards, but I don't think Visage got experience out of that. I know he did not.
Yeah, so that's the only kind of annoying part about that is Tax going down before Winter did. So with that, you're kind of expecting these guys to just go ham together and kind of smash face for a little bit. You kind of want to abuse the early levels of Soul Assumption from the Visage, especially when you have a Tuskar as well. If you can kind of just get in the face of Supernova, you can do a lot of work. Circling back to your question before about the top lane, I think SF's just going to be A-okay with kind of just farming. They are just trying to abuse Sheep here, who's just trying to get some of these pulls going, but Yukio should be A-okay with just farming this out, and SJ is just going to sit there and just try and be annoying to Sheep as he gets his kind of manual body pulls around.
We saw this in game number 1, that Chen had a pretty abysmal time laning into Ukyo. This time around, that particular story is being repeated. He's being doubled up on the CS right now. Hasn't died just yet, but might not necessarily be feeling at his best. Although Ukyo does have to watch himself because he could die to an avalanche combination. Mid, we see these two heroes. Can anybody rotate to help them get kills on one another through this mid lane? Or is it just going to be a farm fest for as long as possible?
Tusk and Tiny definitely can when it comes to power runes, but it's going to be a toss-up about whether or not they feel like they can leave their side laners, right? Like whether or not Chen is at a strong enough position where he can move away, he can allow Sheep to move away, and same thing for DQQ, right? To see whether or not the Tax is in a good spot.
It's also interesting that both of these mid laners are faster than average. One having the Wex Orbs, the other one having Storm Surge. And now we see that they are running down this Visage in the bottom lane. Tax getting exploited. They try to save him with DQQ, but there's a limited amount that can be done. So that's another kill that the Troll manages to find. And we've already seen what can happen to iG.V when Dolem Tax is a little bit behind in how he comes out of the laning phase. And it seems like we're going to get a repeat of that situation. This Visage is going to have to find space to be able to recover somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly. And this is kind of the reason why that you see a lot of teams pick this Troll Warlord, right? Like he's a very, very good laner. Whirling Axes is very, very good, and having access to both of them with one skill point is always nice. So at level 4, you can be a very, very scary hero. And so the way that this lane does play is you can just be aggressive with things like the Frost Nova as well as the Whirling Axes and just force this Visage, who unfortunately doesn't have any magic resist, or much magic resist to play around with this early on.
We're going to see them yet again going a bit aggressively down bottom. Frost Shield slowing these heroes down. There's going to be the slow. The Root comes in as well. And Tax going to get snowballed back, but he's going to get dragged further into the wave. The stun will be there to buy space and time, but I don't think Winter will be able to close this one down. So they'll settle for the easier target, going for DQQ, but unfortunately for them, the damage coming in from Tax, these soul assumptions. And now Chola realizing that I don't have any more mana to play with. I can't play aggressively into the Tusk. So they overplay their hand here, Fluke, and they get punished for it pretty damn hard, losing the Troll Warlord at 100% for free.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy that they're able to turn that around and go into that. So this is going to be a very, very volatile lane for both of these two players. So maybe you might be looking towards, yeah, exactly, Sheep making his way towards this middle lane to try and steal some of these runes, because at this time, you know that Tax, they want to keep trading with these soul assumptions and all that kind of jazz. And as soon as he goes away, they do this.
Yep. They play aggressively into him. Couple more right clicks is all they need. One more, come on. Oh, he gets it with the Whirling Axis. All right. Whew. Like you said, you get the double access for both range and the melee version. Good time to the solitary skill point. They get the kill, taking advantage of the lack of presence from that Tusk just for a moment, but we've already seen throughout this series what can happen when there's a moment of abandonment. Suddenly the opponent gets the read to play as aggressively as humanly possible.
Yeah, and this is exactly what I was talking about, right? Like when you make these rotations as these rotational position fours, the Tiny and the Tusk, you have to make sure that your offlaner is going to be in a good spot. And unfortunately for Tax, he wasn't in a good spot, and he is really starting to hurt now. He's 16 CS up against the 28 and 16 of the Troll Warlord. So he's really starting to feel the hurt when it comes to this laning phase. And we've seen what Winter was able to do in the previous game, in game number 1, when he had a free game. So maybe Troll Warlord could be on the cards once again to have a stellar game.
We're going to see a first rotation. Yeah, Hana's just showed up. EMP will be dropped down. DQQ not even going to attempt the snowball save just yet. There's the Sinister Gaze coming out. Nice stun from DQQ. Unfortunately, it will not be enough, as Han finds himself with an assist. First one of the game for himself, feeling good. Oh, third one, actually. I forgot about that massive fight earlier. And Shola, he's the one credited with the kill. And that is the 4th death for this Visage. It's starting to look very problematic, and especially because now that they have this Ring of Health on Winter, I doubt he ever gets to a low position again where Tax feels comfortable trying to aggress onto him.
It's going to be a hard fight for them, but this is kind of what we usually see from a lot of these Troll Warlord games, is they have a good laning phase, they get a couple of kills, they feel good, they get a battle fury, and then transition to the mid game, and then you're like, man, my hero feels bad when I press an R button. So we'll see if he's able to play around that, and see if he's able to get to a point where Troll kind of really wants to be like an item or two ahead, because if he can abuse the fact that he's like a very, very scary hero on the map and becomes unstoppable to, you know, through the battle trance, then that's when this hero can look good. But pre that, it's going to be rough.
Well, it's rough right now for this DQQ Tusk, as there's yet another rotation made towards him. He does make a pretty nice play with the eye shots, but the slows should be there with the whirling axes. Do they have enough to kill him? They do indeed with the Frost Blast. And Shola has a killing spree now as well. Okay, cool. Tax unable to do too much about this. We still haven't cracked the full level 6 on this Visage, so he can't make the turnaround play. And actually might try to go for him again here, Fluke. They're coming in. Sheep has the avalanche. There's the combo. They have it down pat. Heaven gets the damage out. Heavenly Gaze, or Sinister Gaze, not Heavenly Gaze. It's very sinister. Enables them to get the kill. Tax dies just as SJ comes bottom. And now that SJ is bottom, they know that SF is going to be a lone top, so it makes the game even easier to be played for Chen. It's a cascading effect off of the strength of this bottom lane, and it's all positive for Supernova so far.
Yeah, they're alleviating a bit of the pressure that that Chen has towards the top side. You know, Yukio is absolutely untouchable right now on the Shadow Fiend, but iG.V in a weird spot. Maybe they can get a kill here in Chola.
Fighting inside the river here. We had the Sinister Gaze already popped onto the Tusk with the Avalanche already being used up. EMP burn will be there. They toss back the Razor, so they isolate DQQ for a second. They use the Courier to grab a moment of vision onto him. Can they close the gap is the question though. Nice eye shots to give himself a little bit more space. And look who showed up in the river. It's Troll Warlord. Winter wants a piece of this action, and he's gonna be able to get it. Bringing down SJ. Very quick kill. And look at what happened immediately. Look at top Han realizing that, wait a second, Ukyo's actually been chilling all alone. We should kill him and turn this into a tower push. Unfortunately though, this Observer Ward does scout this out. They know what's happening, so they're bringing over the Razor. The question is, will it be enough to save Ukyo's life as he's falling really, really low? Tornado comes out. Chola's here as well with the Frost Blast, so they will be able to end off his life. Sinister Gaze keeps Totoro away from Chen. So although Chen does eventually die, that's 2 cores it takes to be able to bring him down. On the bright side though, that does mean there's no exorcism, so the tower should likely live off the back of this. But still, Supernova, they're the ones playing with all the initiative on the map at the moment.
Yeah. And they're able to do that off the back of, you know, having this Invoker who can make these rotations. Yeah, the Razor is good in the game, but the issue that he's going to have is he just doesn't make the same rotations that an Invoker does, right? Like, Han's able to run around. He has the urn now and just can throw a tornado and deal some damage. He is being caught out though.
There is going to be a Young Dust applied on top this Razor, or the Invoker, but Razor, having jumped in for this kill, will end up dying for it as well. And they might not be done just yet. Sheep has the Avalanche Toss combination. There is no Blink Dagger for DQQ, so there's no escape, my friend. You are going to die 100%. The question is, do you take anybody with you? And the answer is no. Shen finds a kill, a double. So this sort of ameliorates the effect of dying with Ghost up. Now you get this double kill, you get a lot of gold back, and you still have good positioning on the top side of the map.
Yeah, true. They don't really get the tower damage out of it, which is a little annoying for Supernova, but they're going to transition this into a mid-tower push as well. Oh, SJ is 100% dead.
Yep. Well, he goes out like a champ, at least denies the Illusion Rune on the way out.
True. There is now a dominating spree though for Winter, and he's getting really, really involved, even though that he's going for this Battle Fury build. So, I mean, I like the fact that he's putting his stamp on the map because he is a strong hero right now. Like, level 9 on a Troll Warlord, his spells do a lot of work early on. If he keeps getting these kills, keeps getting these towers, then, I mean, his Battle Fury just comes a whole lot faster.
Yep. Somebody was brave enough to walk up the hill and collect this bounty rune. Now it actually grants him his Battle Fury, but wisdom and sometimes discretion is the better part of valor. So that instead just stack up, take the tier 1 tower in the top lane, make life as easy for themselves as humanly possible. And for iG.Vitality, this is when they have to try and figure out what moves to make, right? Like you mentioned, this Razor, not necessarily the hero you think of making big rotations on the map. So they are going to struggle. They do have these heroes just looking for the tier 1 tower. They pop the fortification. Winter is the one that's standing nearby just in case to hold the tower, and iG.Vitality, they realize they don't want to stick around too long because reinforcements are almost certainly on the way.
And you can just see that they understand that they need to try and take a little bit of pressure back and take a little bit of this space. So They put themselves towards the mid lane. Tax takes bottom. Does have the Vlad's up now, so a little bit of that extra damage aura for the Shadow Fiend. But 4-man smoke coming in here from Supernova.
Yeah. Let's see where they want to
has
go.
that Midas picked up, and with Chen being able to pick up this mechanism, it's going to be hard for iG.V to fight.
SJ really wants to break the smoke. He really wants to give the advance warning onto the Visage. And they now know Visage is still in the area thanks to this courier traveling by. However, SJ has provided the necessary vision, giving up his own body in the process. Good move, actually, from the Visage. That where the tree was just thrown, that's exactly where he was. But if he didn't move out the way, he probably gets caught and killed. Still, though, they're okay with this on Supernova. Just getting another kill. You get to finish off the Midas for the Invoker now. That's flying out, and we've already seen the impact that Han can have when getting sufficient amounts of farm with this Midas Invoker.
Yeah, I think he's looked really good on the Invoker today. Had a relatively good series so far. Maybe the Batrider game might be something he might want to try and push out of his mind, but his Invoker performances definitely have been good. And now iG.V, this is where it's in this awkward transition period for all three of their cores, right? You have a Visage. He wants to try and group up. Hasn't been able to hit some item timing just yet. He's going to have Drums of Endurance. Going to go into a 4-staff after that. So a little bit of an aura bot. And, you know, your Razor needs to get BKB. And nobody's going to be able to stay on the map and make stuff work for you because your Shadow Fiend's going to be the one that's going to want to sit back and farm the jungle.
Speaking of farming right now, Winter farming the top side of the map. He comes across DQQ into Toro on Ash. Can they kill him in time is the question, though. The Global will be there. Can they buy him space in time? No, they cannot. He ends up going down. The question is, where's the revenge coming from? Chain Frost bouncing between Totoro and DQQ. They've got them both down. And yes, they did get out the big Global. And Sunstrike, will it be there in time? No, it will not. DQQ still alive, actually, just wasting a lot of their time. He knows he's dead, but can grace us with some flashy plays on the way out.
Yeah, that was almost a sick getaway from DQQ, but still goes down. They take the Troll Warlord, so I mean that's a decent amount of gold going the way of Ash, but it's all about the gold that goes in the pockets of Sheep and Chen. They're two heroes that definitely want to try and hit their first items and really start to abuse that. Like we've got Guardian Greaves rolling out now for Chen, so he's going to look scary. Sheep's getting closer to the Blink Dagger. Once they come up, then, I mean, it's kind of off to the races for Supernova, right? Like, they've got everything they want on their Invoker in Han. Cholo's is going to be a Lich. So, Guardian Greaves and BK and the Blink are going to be two big item timings for them to hit. And iG.V, once again, just kind of backs against the wall, kind of have to play this slow and methodical and try and grind out a victory here.
We'll see if they're able to make it happen. Unfortunately, they keep losing this Razor. Razor, not necessarily the hero you want to be playing from behind in a catch-up situation. We'll see if they can enable him to play more further forward. He almost has BKB available, so once that happens, they do have many more play options available. In the top lane, on the side of Supernova, they're just de-warding around this outpost. They're looking for to take the tier 2 tower here. They will pop Ghost for this. iG.Vitality, they don't have Global Silence for another 23 seconds. So kind of hard for them to fight in this area. We'll see what the decision is going to be. They just got BKB from Razor, so this is so frustrating. You would love to be able to go in. They get some stuns going on to Troll. Chain Frost going to be bouncing around. Troll Warlord hasn't popped the ultimate just yet. Forced to do so right now. And now they're going in. Jen actually might die, losing HP on this DP. The DP is falling very low. The Troll out of damage, so he can't do anything to bring down the Razor during the battle trance. And they're bouncing back the side of the Supernova. And Spirit Siphon, though, out as the ghosts come back. Oh no, DP a bit too tanky right now, looking like a Jabate to go onto her as they create enough space to be able to get the Tiny out of dodge. What can Han do? Drops the Ice Wall down. Global Silence will finally come out. They use it to close down the Death Prophet and kill her off. 2 cores gone. iG.Vitality defend their tier 2 tower and manage to get some critical kills in the process.
Yeah, this is kind of the issue that we're going to have for the rest of the game for the Troll, right? He's just going to get linked up and the dog's going to get walked. And, I mean, what's he supposed to do? Press his ultimate where he loses control of his hero? That'd be really unfortunate, wouldn't it? So, Troll goes down. Not really much that he can do about that. iG.V are able to push forward. And this is exactly what they needed to do, right? They needed to utilize their item timings. They just got the BKB on Ash. They just got the Blink Dagger coming in from DQQ. And that means that they're able to win that fight, and win that fight very handedly as well. They're starting to claw this game back. They've got the net worth lead now, and things are starting to slow down a little bit too much here for Supernova. Maybe it was a little bit overzealous for them to try and think they could take that tier 2 tower, but now with Winter back on the map, he's going to try and farm towards his BKB, and they need to have fights where this Troll Warlord can stay away from the Razor as far as possible. That's all they need to have in these team fights for him to go well, but for that to work out, they need to make sure that the Troll Warlord can start to kill these other heroes.
Shout out to DQQ, because in that fight, his eye shots would enable them to get the initial leash out on the Troll. At this point, if I'm Supernova, I just want 4 staffs, as many as humanly possible, because these eye shots are proving to be massively problematic. And DQQ, the problem child himself, he gets avalanche tossed by the Tiny, and they're going to send him back to the rest of the Supernova roster. Get a quick kill onto him. Just remind iG.V that they still do have access to some burst damage. And they're giving space towards Winter to farm in the top lane. There's some rotations coming in, but they cancel them out, okay. They don't want to force this fight on top of the Troll.
It'll be hard for them to keep that fight on top of the Troll Warlord, especially that he's waiting for his BKB now as well. So Boots are bearing up for Tax, so he's a very big proponent of these team fights here for iG.V. Going for a refresher onto Totoro as well, so I want to just kind of play with double Eye of the Storm, hopefully trying to burst some of these heroes through Global Silence, but Roche is on the menu now here as well. BKB is being picked up on the way. They're going to stay in the Roche pit with some smokage, but they don't know. iG.V, they're none the wiser, so this is going to be a free Aegis for Winter.
Nice. Well, somehow Supernova keep being able to sneak these Roshans and get some key Aegises, as they do manage to pick up the first one of the game. So Big Man is dead, Aegis in the hands of this Troll. So next time around, he can eat the leash without having to commit his full life on the first go. True. I think that's probably the rationale. Dude, it sucks so much. When you're playing Troll, when you get leashed, you're just like, well, that's the fight. We're done, boys. Can't do anything.
Yeah, you're really kind of relying on like 4 staffs and the rest of your team to be able to get you out of dodge. So maybe he can utilize a bit of the move speed, but last time DQQ really kind of locked him into a corner. So next team fight, they're trying to fight into an Aegis and they don't have their Shadow Fiend. I don't know how I feel about this.
All right, let's see how it goes for them. As so far they found Sheep. They weren't able to break the smoke and get an avalanche toss. They tossed though the toss deep into the fray, right in front of where this Troll Warlord is. And Troll will be able to eliminate him. Global Silence does end up getting popped, but the Global is now over. Ice Wall drop down onto the Razor, prevent him from going forward. He hasn't popped his BKB just yet. Does go for it now, as they're going to take away the first life on this Aegis. He does have access to the Battletrons on life too, but he will not have access to Han, as Han has already gotten himself out of dodge. Battletrons popped in. He wants to go for the BKB SF. Ukyo's in trouble. Ukyo's in danger. Ukyo's just gonna die. Sinister Gaze directly onto the Visage, preventing him from escaping the fight, so they're gonna get a double kill for Winter. Tax thought he was gonna be able to keep up in that fight, but unfortunately, it's this Troll of Winter who's just rising in the map right now. So that's 2 for 2. Does take away an Aegis, but ultimately, I think they're happy to just get this much gold into the hands of the Troll Warlord.
Yeah, I think you're more than happy with that. Obviously, utilizing your Aegis, you still get the 2-2 tower. They want to try and get another kill again.
This time he doesn't have help. Yeah, his allies launch here. Help, team! Avalanche will be there. They're trying to make some space. They toss back the Razor onto the creep camp, and the space has been created. Oh my god, he has the damn Tumblr's toy on the Tiny. Kill me now. The Razor might end up losing his life. No, they get the turnaround onto Han. He's gonna end up almost falling, but the toss. Dude, Sheep is just playing out of his mind in this game. SJ is able to close off the life onto Han, but it's an expensive one at the very end. Sheep somehow saving the life of Troll, setting up for a kill onto Razor, just making everything happen on for his team on this Tiny.
Yeah, all off the back of the Tumblr's toy as well. Absolute big brain play, being able to buy that one from the shop. But I think that the way that they played then, it was really, really good. It was a bit ambitious from iG.V to try and take down the Troll Warlord, especially with the tier 1 tower up as well. Like maybe if there wasn't a tier 1 tower, I'd be like, hey, yeah, go for that. and you kind of just got caught out a little bit by not knowing where everybody else was. But having that tier 1 tower to respond here just kind of gives Supernova a little bit more gold in their pocket. They would have loved to have been able to keep Han alive because he needs his BKB in these next couple of fights. Otherwise, it is kind of just going to be all on the Troll Warlord and maybe a little bit of Chen as well. But you know, this game is going. Winter is trying to put the carry pants on.
Sheep is also doing his best impression of a carry as he has just played. Look at this, dude. The body blocks, the initiation, the setup for the Sunstrike to land perfectly flush from Han. Sheep is on one today, and Han will be very grateful for that kill as it allows him to close in on level 15. Soon we're going to be having access to the BKB that you mentioned. Super important for this Invoker hero. And they get a tier 1 tower off the back of this as well. The tower might not matter too much for Vitality, but any piece of additional gold just feels very good at this stage of the game.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the big thing for Supernova right now is just getting any additional gold they can so they can get towards these next couple of items, right? Like they need these BKBs and Chen. Awkward spot for him to be caught.
Yeah, he actually could have TP'd out. If he just TP'd out, it would have been fine. They managed to re-engage on this fight. It's a very tanky hero to bring down. Guardian Greed, he still has Spirit Siphon charges. And Totoro Ash actually pops the BKB to try to get in on this. You take this any day of the week. BKB charge out of Razor with Eye of the Storm, and you don't lose anything? Hashtag worth.
And this just goes to show the power of the Death Prophet.
Oh,
just
look at
being
this.
able to stay in these fights, and now Troll's going in the backlines.
Troll's coming in on the backlines. They really want to try and find this Vestige. Not going to be able to get the full catch on time. The Global Silence did allow them to cover the retreat. We did not have Sheep able to find the initiation with the blink. Unfortunately, though, SJ, the Silencer himself, will end up losing his life. Drops an Observer Ward as he dies right on the spot. I'm not sure if they saw that one. But they still do have access to Exorcism, so they could decide to try and trigger this onto a tier 2 tower, or even try and force a fight, depending on what Sheep is able to find. They scout out DQQ with this Frost Shield. The Avalanche will be there. The Requiem being channeled up. They might try to turn this around, but for now they'll be happy to just take these birds. Do you go for this push as Supernova, or do you just let the tier 2 tower go?
I think, you know, they're more than happy to stick around here. They don't really have the cooldowns to play for it, and I think they want to try and check to see if they can get something else on the map. It's hard for them to commit towards this tier 2 tower, because if you do overcommit, you can just potentially walk into a Razor who, as soon as he hits like a nice little static link, it's going to be hard for you to play around with it, and the Troll really needs his BKB to play these fights as well. So I like that they went for the slower kind of style, and iG.V haven't really been able to punish them just yet. You know, haven't really been able to see Yukio get into these fights and win them out.
Okay, we're gonna have a Dead Silencer. And you were mentioning the importance of Troll fighting with BKB. They now have the triples. So everybody on the side, all 3 cores have it for Supernova. Global Silence, far less useful, provided they're patient enough. And this is scary. They pop these ghosts. They want to get the damage out onto the tier 2 tower. Make sure that this goes down quickly. Oh no, they got the Avalanche toss. They found the Razor. He's not going to be able to get off his BKB in time. He gets it off after the damage is already streaming in from the Troll and the Death Prophet. And they bring him down. Does not have buyback. Of course, Roshan is not going to be eligible for a takedown just yet, but this is just more map control that they can take from the side of Supernova.
Yeah, and this is just shows the power of the Basher, right? Like, he just got a nice lucky bash, and oh no, they found another with Tax.
Oh no, this is not good. This is going to be on Tax, but the Global Silence with the Snowball will buy him enough time that they do decide to get back on Supernova. They're not going to make the decision to hard commit for that one. That was fairly close, because that really could have gone any direction. But now you're cool. You know that Roshan is about to respawn, and they're not going to have Global Silence for a while.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, right? Like, they know that Roche is, one, super important for them, and very, very close for them to be able to claim. And this is where it starts getting very awkward for iG.V. They've got a Troll Warlord issue. Is still able to card him out with things like the static link, but the initiations coming in from Supernova. They've been playing really, really well. Sheep has, I think he took that last loss personally on the Earth Spirit, and was really starting to play really well on this Tiny. Just knowing that all he needs to do is kind of like find one or two of these heroes, and then his Troll Waller can convert on that kill as well. And they're really kind of on the same page a lot of the time. Here's Supernova, and they're playing really fast as well. So I like this from them, but you need to make sure now that they don't get caught out before this Roche fight.
Smoke up from iG.Vitality. They want to catch them. They want to try and make it more difficult. We see a ward battle on the high ground. Sheep, he finds two heroes with the Avalanche here. Snowfall will come out. The nice Chain Frost, forcing out the early BKB from the Razor. They come back in onto Sheep. They're looking towards the Troll. Troll will be forced to pop his BKB. Hasn't gone for the ultimate just yet. As Sheep does die on the high cliff here. Does not have buyback. But on by the same token, iG.Vitality, they committed BKB, Eye of the Storm, the full refresher on Razor. Global Silence still not going to be available for a while, so I'm not feeling like they have full confidence in going into the pit. And besides, still 1 more minute until the Roshan comes up. And now I'm starting to realize, Fluke, about this Razor. Because he didn't go for the drain talent, you know you always go for the strength. He's not going to be able to drain the Troll fast enough that he's not under threat from the Troll. So whenever BKB goes down, even if the link is on the Troll can still turn and kill him at this point with the newly picked up Skadi.
Very true, very true. It's going to be hard for him to fully drain him out, but it's still going to be that kind of back and forth between him and Winter about who's really going to be able to get the better of the positioning in this fight. Because we've seen how squishy he can be before, right? Like we saw how easily they were able to take down Ash if the Troll Waller gets on top of him when he knows that static link has been used somewhere else. So iG.V, they still need to make sure that they're using this properly.
iG.Vitality have to watch themselves because Supernova are smoked up. They're trying to utilize the respawn on this Tiny to find a pick off just before Roshan himself comes back. The big man is going to be up in a few seconds. Going to get scouted out by... No, Chen, go back in! No, Chen! Oh, no. Feels bad. All right.
That's always the worst.
Yeah.
You check it, and then it's like half a second later, it's paused. You're like, God damn it.
We're going to see how this breaks down. They find the Lich first and foremost. Global Silence will help to ensure that they get his life. He buys back with immediate effect. As Chen, they want to try and re-engage here. Sheep looking for a way to go in with the Avalanche. Will miss as they Hurricane Pike onto the high ground for the SF. This gives a little bit of space for Heaven. They pop the Ghost. They go into the Roshan pit. They have Alacrity on the Troll as well. This is going by really, really quickly. They need to try and force this fight on the side of iG.V. Here comes Razor. Totoro going in, draining up onto the Troll Warlord as well. Chain Frost gets dropped in. No Requiem to follow just yet from the SF. And he's actually dying to the Chain Frost bounce back. Ukyo, he can't help out his Totoro Razor stay alive. The BKB duration already well below where he wants it to be at this stage of the game. Down to the 6 minutes. Tornado coming in from Han. Catches out this Tusk as soon as he jumps into the Roshan pit. Two heroes gone. Both of them have buyback, but neither of them have something to buy back for. As Chola rightfully gets the tip. That Chain Frost that he dropped honestly did the Lord's work in that fight. He did 2,000 damage and helped them to kill off the Razor as the BKB went down.
Yeah, that was massive from Chola. Did a lot of work. There was a point there where I was starting to get a little concerned for the Troll Warlord. He dropped down to about like 50 damage, and I was like, this could be pretty bad. But the way that he was able to get away from the leash and turn back into that fight, and iG.V, you can just see they're starting to run into some issues of them like initiating a fight, right? Like we saw that DQQ kind of just goes in and gets blown up, and then he has to buy back into another fight and isn't able to really get it done. And this is the issue that they're running into right now, is that they just don't have all too much team fight control. Whereas for the side of Supernova, they've got things like the Sinister Gaze, they've got the Sheep on the Tiny, they've got Hanri's Invoker, who's been such a good player for these last few games, and he's really starting to stand up once again. And you can just see iG.V, they have so many issues just catching these people out, and it's just only going to get harder and harder as this game goes on.
10k net worth deficit that they're suffering at the moment. 78% win probability in favor of Supernova, according to Dota Plus at least. So, provided they don't mess this one up, they should be able to cruise to victory for the rest of this game. And unfortunately, we are now back in the situation we saw in game number 1, where Ukyo has to do everything. All the damage is coming out of him. Totoro, his game has not scaled well enough to keep him in contention as a viable centerpiece slash carry. He can't even play the full anchor role that we see from like these Leshraks, Death Prophets or whatever. So he just has to be a supporting member of this fight. Ukyo has to do it all, but they're getting the tools to be able to control Ukyo up. They have the Basher on the troll. We've seen that this Invoker has tons of control in his own rights, and he's building a Hex as well. So if they can catch him without BKB, then suddenly that hero dies and they have nothing else. This game is just starting to feel very scary, Fluke. What's the counterplay here? If you're on the side of iG.V, what are you trying to do in the next few minutes to give themselves the best chance to still win the game?
Just having a look around at some of the items that are coming up. I mean, Aghanim Scepter is huge for them on the task, but he's so far away. Maybe you just try and start a fight by going into the backline, or he's trying to force the Troll Warlord to, you know, pop BKB. Maybe you don't kill him through ulti, but if you're able to at least suck his damage away, then deal with everybody else, then maybe that might be a good play for you. But it's so hard, man, because they need to deal with Troll during Global Silence so they can try and kill him before he drops his ulti, but he's got an Aegis, and then it's like, do you go on like Death Prophet or do you go on the Invoker? Maybe the Invoker's the play from here on out is, you know, Yukio as well as DQQ try and go in towards the backline and surprise Han and take him down, and then kite around the Troll Warlord with Totoro just walking in and just trying to link him up. Maybe that's the play from here on out, but there's just so many different avenues for Supernova to try and win this fight, because again, triple core is going to be much scarier than, you know, this single double core that you've kind of got here for iG.V.
Winter is a god because he's playing with his Battle Fury even in his backpack. Who needs the Battle Fury? Puts in the Satanic. He knows he wants to get that lifesteal going in the event he loses his life. And there's only 3 buybacks in the entire game. 3 of them do belong on the side of iG.V. So they'll feel a little bit confident holding their high ground in the face of these buybacks being available. But with this Hex that just came out, Death Prophet has the full Lotus Orb. Feels like it is the proverbial go time for Supernova. They pop these ghosts. Still have 1 minute left on the Aegis. Time to go and make something happen. And there will be a couple of right clicks coming in at the Silver Edge. Do see that Winter suffering about half HP in damage, but will get earned up. Should be A-okay. Can just come back and try to find this first lane of racks for themselves. With the Alacrity, he does a lot of damage. You know, it's about 350 damage. Not bad on the Troll.
Yeah, not bad. You take those. It is kind of hard for them to just solo focus on one lane there, just because you have like birds and like silencers just able to like throw Arcane Curse on the wave and on the Troll and stuff. So it's going to be hard for them to just slow siege this game, and they do need to try and force out a fight, and maybe this is the fight they need.
Top lane, DQQ, nice dodge on the Supernova. They actually forced out a BKB charge from Han. This is exactly what you want to be having happen right now. Chain Frost gets thrown out by this Lich. Will bounce around, but not going to be able to find the target they really needed to. And now Aegis is gone, so iG.Vitality has somehow weathered the initial storm. Another push will come when the next Aegis is online, but now they know there's no Exorcism, there's no Chain Frost. I would not be surprised to see them group up in smoke, and it looks like that's exactly what's going to happen here. Gonna try and find a re-engage. Well, while they have a sliver of strength available, and they know that Han popped BKB as well, so he's not gonna want to tussle with anybody right now.
Taxus revealed on the wave in front of Chen, so maybe they're trying to bait them in a false sense of security. They know there's no BKB up on Han either. This fight could be something.
Okay. Illusion scouting out on the high ground. Sheep is the one with the initiation. He's really thinking about it, but it's so scary to jump on this high ground without any proper vision.
They used the Eye of the Storm here as well. Maybe
Oh no, oh no! They found the SF. There's going to be the Global Silence to help cover, but they got off the Battle Trance first and foremost. SF falling so low. He does get some protection from the Razor coming in front of his face and the Walrus Punch, keeping the Troll away from this fight. They pop the Requiem. Totoro going in, Eye of the Storm, BKB, but the BKB is about to expire. He needs to watch himself. And look at the right-click damage that can still come out of the Troll despite being drained up. Hashtag Alacrity, good spell. Still dealing north of 300 damage despite having 174 drained away from him. And because of this strength of the Troll and the lack of BKB timings, both SF and Razor go down. Razor forced a buyback, but here they come for a push fluke. Ghost on the high ground with the Alacrity Troll. You should definitely lose at least a tier 3.
Yeah, especially with Yukio being dead and now probably
Oh
Totoro as well.
no, that's a dieback. Avalanche into the Hex, toss-back combination. We just saw it utilized against the Shadow Fiend. And unlike what happened with the SF, there is no access to a global silence. And Winter's reading the situation. He's like, well, they don't have SF. They just died back on Razor. They actually have no counterplay. And iG.Vitality forced to throw in the towel. GG, well played is called. We saw this exact...